So we were looking more at the sort of experience level, that when users are watching and how they're consuming. But it's also not just about live. I think obviously, people have busy lives, and also will make time to watch live, stream live sports. But again, the ability to replay and catch up sports is just as important in this marketplace. Not everyone has the ability potentially to watch the live game. Therefore, you need to be able to provide that ability for people to consume that content at a time that suits them. And I think that's the key about understanding behavior, and different profiles and different audiences. Of course, you're always going to get those sort of diehard fans that want to watch a game or a match or a sport live. But life isn't necessarily works that way. So I think it's about providing the best of both worlds in that sense. There are still, even in one sport, different types of users. So whether you are a fanatic about one particular club, or you're someone who's more of a generalist in terms of how you consume that particular sport. If I only want to hear about my club, then that's how you'll need to want to see that content on your page. And I still see a lot of sports, even single sports providers, still not really giving me that experience when they know blatantly I only support one team. So I still think there's a real, some real improvements that can still be made for one sport. Is it more, is it easier for one sport? Of course, because you've only got one thing to worry about in terms of the sport they're going to watch. But I still don't think that means that personalization doesn't have a place. Or that the whole timing and context becomes really prevalent in terms of understanding the context of the season, for example, has a very different behavioral context in terms of how people interact with sport. If you're coming towards the end of the season, more fans are perhaps more engaged with different teams, perhaps more mid-season, for example, because there's more at stake. So therefore, I might be more willing to watch that match with my competitor because I want to know if they're going to win or lose. So again, I think that whole context becomes really important in a single sport. And I think that's going to be a big growth area in terms of communicating with users, not just on platform, but making sure you're pushing them at the right time. And I think that has a challenge in itself, because sports is one of those things where you don't want to send endless push notifications about certain sort of what's going on in a match if you don't want to know the result. Yeah, you've got to be careful about how you use that kind of intelligence. But actually linking those two things is, I think, the future in terms of making sure people remain engaged, because I think that's going to be the big challenge going forward. Is since we're coming out of COVID, people have the ability to move again, right? They can go out and spend the day rather than just sitting at home watching TV. So you've really got to encourage people to come back to platform and actually engage. And I think that's where the connection of recommendations and personalization really comes into the forefront, because you need to be able to recognize those signals, know when to access them and how to, and push people at the right time. I think that's where that intelligence becomes really crucial. And again, I'll use the point about both on platform and off platform. That personalization is just as key with one sport platforms, because you really want to make that experience a quality experience that people remember and value. And I think that value point is really key. If you value something because of the service you're getting, then you're going to be more willing to pay for it. And I think it's not just about providing live sport or catch up. It's about providing an experience both on and off platform that users value.
Find out more at 24i.com.